Hello, this is video 4 of the EOI form walkthrough for the Warm Homes local grant. So we've looked at the 5 main sections of the form, and most LAs will only need to complete sections 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But local authorities that are in a consortium and which will have multiple DAC months. So in section 3, they would have entered yes in question 3A. They won't answer the rest of section 3, and they will instead go to Annex A. So the first question in this section is when the first delivery assurance check in the consortium will happen. So it's important to note here that firstly, the consortium lead will need to be part of the first delivery assurance check so that we are assured that the lead is ready to project manage and lead the project. And also that the mid-mobilization review will be based on the timing of the first DAC month. Obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean that it will be the date that you select here, because we may decide that we need to move the date that you select, as I said in section 3. But the mid-mobilization review will be calculated based on the midpoint between when the MOU is signed and when the first DAC ends up being scheduled. And just to add that the MOU we expect to be issued for signing in February of 2025. So obviously bear that in mind when you're planning when you intend to take your first DAC. We then ask how many separate DAC months you expect to need. So there are up to 12 here for the full financial year that applies to. And we then ask, similarly to section 3, whether you intend to transfer any delivery assurance check documents from HUG2 to the Warm Homes local grant. So again, these are the fraud risk assessment, fraud management plan, and escalation contacts. You don't have to transfer all 3 if you don't want to. Those are the ones that are on offer. And the reason that we ask this for the whole consortium is that these are documents that the lead would lead on, and so they're not applicable to the consortium members. Then this green auto calculation gives the implied mid-mobilization review date based on the DAC month that you've selected, and I've already given you a caveat to that, so I won't add another. The next section is question 6D, and you can see that the local authorities that I entered in tab 1 on details have automatically been populated here with the lead local authority in this imaginary consortium at the top, and because it is the lead local authority, it already has its DAC month selected for you, which is the first DAC month. As I said, the lead LA has to come in the first wave. You then enter when you expect the DAC months to be for the rest of your consortium. So let's say, with apologies to the LAs involved, that Amber Valley will come at the same time as Ada, and Arran and Ashfield will be in July. So there will be 2 waves. So in question 6B, I would select 2. I then will select for each of my consortia LAs whether they will be transferring HUG2 DAC contracts to start delivery as soon as possible. And let's imagine that in this consortium, all relevant contracts for delivery for the top 2 will be transferred. Then I would select for the procurement approach for those 2 that all contracts for the first DAC are being transferred. So what this means is when you initially come to the delivery assurance check, those 2 LAs will not need to do any new procurement. They're going to be transferring all the needed contracts to deliver in WHLG. Now, that will start off the delivery for those LAs, and it might then be that you will be procuring in parallel to take over effectively the delivery at some point when those rolled over contracts run out. So you'll need to be doing that at the same time, but this column is only asking for the information for the first delivery assurance check. For Arran and Ashfield, it might be that either they are transferring some contracts, but they have additional contracts they'll also need to procure for this first delivery assurance check, or it might be that they aren't going to be transferring at all. So I would select there, perhaps, just as an example. So then I do that for all of my consortium LAs, and in question 6E, if there are any LAs that don't fit within table 6D, then you can enter them into this free text box. And you should try to enter all of the relevant information that the table is asking you for. So information about the procurement and whether they're using the contract transfer, as well as the DAC month. Question 6F mirrors the one in section 3, where we're asking for a bit more detail on the approach to procurement, and we'd like to know this for each group of LAs coming to the DAC. So you'd set out those LAs coming to the first DAC, in this example in May, and then separately you'd set out the timelines for the procurement for those LAs coming in July, or whichever month you'd selected. Question 6G and 6H mirror the ones in section 3 and are looking at the procurement regulations, modern slavery, and conflicts of interest. And again, are asking you to note that you'll be required to meet the requirements at the delivery assurance check. That's the end of Annex A, and is the last sort of data entry tab in the EOI form. The only remaining tab is the privacy notice. This is applicable to all EOIs, and because we gather some personal information in tab 1, this privacy notice tells you how we will manage and store that information. I won't go into any detail on it. So that's the EOI form. Thanks for listening. I'll just return to some of the points that I said at the start, which is that the EOI form is due for submission by the 1st of December. Please submit to whlg@energysecurity.gov.uk. If you have any questions or you're struggling to fill in the form, please reach out to the Retrofit Information Support and Expertise Service. And I've already given you the email address for that one. I can't remember it. Apologies. Thanks very much for listening again, and thanks for submitting an EOI form.